Okay, I'm live. I'm live. Just came out of wardrobe. Today is May 27th, 2025. This is the Anyone Can Farm experience. What is it? Live. Yeah, live. I'm Mark, your host, coming to you from Baker's Green Acres in Marion, Michigan. Whoa, and it's kind of springy. It's kind of nice out today. We had pretty clear skies and warm weather. Yesterday too. I'm just coming in. I was doing one of my favorite things to do in the whole world is mow the lawn. I got a really nice lawnmower, and it's just nice. You get out there and mow, and it looks good, smells good. It's a nice thing to do. I really like it. I like doing a lot of things too. I like plowing snow. I like cutting wood. I like pretty much everything I have to do here. Yeah, I really do. And that's a good thing. So, excuse me. I'm going to talk tonight about something that I've talked to you about before, value adding on the homestead, but kind of taking it to the next level. And this is a real easy one for me because this morning I was going about my daily tasks. Tuesday, Frank and I milk, and it's still a real exciting operation because we haven't arrived yet. We just haven't arrived, and I'm not even sure what that looks like. To be honest with you, every day it's something a little bit new. We make a little bit more improvement, just get a little bit better at what we're doing. And while we're doing that, we're getting experience with these animals and getting into the whole dairying thing. I don't have a background in this. I didn't grow up on a farm or anything like that. It's just something that I wanted to do. And as we've been traveling on this journey, new things present themselves all the time. And you get to make the decision, do we want to do this or do we not want to do this? And I've decided to do things that we don't do anymore. So I guess you could chalk them up to, I don't know, mistakes. Maybe not. I don't know. Is there any such thing? I don't know. And the criteria for whether we continue to do it is really survival. We got to survive. We got to pay the bills. We got to create enough extra wealth. So if we want to put gasoline in our car or go on a vacation, I don't even know what that's like, but, be able to experience life in these United States, right? So it's survival. It's not just barely making it. That who wants to just barely make it? I could do that working in a factory if I wanted to. And there was other things that I could have done when I came out of the military, but this seemed to me to be a good cushion in between that life and this life, or at least that's what I thought. And it's turned out okay. This is our 21st year. There's been some years that were not so good and some years that were better than others, but this year I think is going to be the best year. So for those of you that are new, what we do here is it's a 150 acre farm now, and we graze cattle. So we are in the beef business. We graze milk cows. So we're in the dairying business, about 10 of them now. We raise pastured poultry, a couple thousand a year, nothing crazy. We have laying hens, so we usually rate in 3 or 4 dozen or 4 or 5 dozen of eggs a day, something like that, sometimes lower in the winter. What else do? We raise pigs, Mangalitsa pigs. Not that many anymore. I have 4 sows and a boar, and then whatever comes from that, we either sell them as small pigs, weaner pigs for other homesteads that need them. And then we usually feed out 20 to 30 a year. We have a butcher shop on the farm. So the idea is that the animals are born here and then they finish up here. And then we have a store on the farm too. It's in the farm, you have to come in the driveway and go in the store, and we have pork and beef and milk and sometimes butter. Jill doesn't like me to say that. And other products that we create here out of what's here. The grass grows here and the rain falls here, and the soil is becoming increasingly fertile as the years go by, and we work hard at that. We do a lot of composting with our butcher shop. We generate a lot of things that are sometimes seen as waste products, but in reality, there is no such thing as a waste product. And I think that we're going to touch on that. It seems like when you're in this for a while, everything seems to tie together in one way or another. And I know I've talked about value adding before, but I never saw it the way I saw it this morning as I was milking. Well, Frank is the one that's actually milking. I'm the guy that's in the milk house, and the milk is going into the bottles, and then the bottles go into some sort of cooling operation. We have several different types, depending on where they're going. And as I'm doing that, it's first thing in the morning. I've had probably 2 cups of coffee. I've done my cold plunge this morning, and yesterday morning I got to sit in the sun, like coming up in the east, and we've got a little porch right here, and me and Jill sit out there and have coffee and then sit in the sun and take as much as I can get. I mean, literally right in it, as much as I can get my feet on the ground, grounding. It's real. It's real stuff. And just sit out there and take it all in. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So by the time I get down there to milk, I'm on. I'm really at peak performance. Had a good night's sleep, which I did last night. Eat good because we create a lot of good food. So I'm able to eat good, and things are just working really well, So that's when I do my best thinking. And this morning, darn it all, we had too much milk. After I look at my flow sheet that Jill prints out, it's sort of like a list of all the people that we're matching milk up with that we get on Tuesday with people for their day, a herd share, it's called. And so I got it all matched up, and darn it all, I had a bunch of extra milk. And sometimes I think we've got to find a way to have a group of people that will take milk when we have more than we need. But those people are hard to find. And even if you find them, they're busy too. And so how do you get it to them and trade them a $10 bill for a gallon of milk? How do you do that? So there's all kinds of ways that we think of, and none of them really seem good. I mean, I have my Facebook thing, and I put out there, I have extra milk today. And it never fails. Someone will say, I wish I lived closer. Never fails. And there's responses, but you don't have people driving to the farm and saying, I'd like a gallon of milk. It just doesn't really happen. Sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't. Our regular milk customers, sometimes if I put a sign on the door, I have extra milk today, sometimes they'll take extra, but we wind up with extra milk. And I mean, if that's the biggest problem that I have no problems. But that's what this process is working down through the problems. Like, so 2 years ago, we had one milk stanchion and we had 4 cows. So you could bring them in one at a time and milk them, and then we'd carry the milk across the driveway to the butcher shop at the time because it had a sink, and we would put that milk in jars and go back, get that cow out, and then get the next cow in. But usually 2 of them want to come in, or they said the heck with this, and they went back out and started grazing. So you had to walk out there and get behind them with a stick. Come on, you got to get milk. So that process was taking till noon most of the time. If we started at 9, it was taking till noon. And, it was working, and the milk was going out, and we were trading the milk for dollars. And it was like, hey, this is good. It wasn't really enough. And we looked at that and say, there's a better way to do this. What is it, though? And through a chain of events, a man came here. He's actually the township supervisor. And he said something about, well, Uncle Ben used to milk down in the basement. I said, this guy was your uncle? The guy that built this place? He says, yeah. And Dave Roosevelt, my township supervisor, he's probably 80 something now. And he was a full-time farmer. He doesn't milk anymore, but he still cuts hay, and he's a pretty active guy. We've done some stuff together. I've butchered some pigs for him and stuff. And so I said, so how did that happen? And he said, well, the cows stood here and the stanchions were here, and none of that was there anymore. There was only just a concrete sill that was still there. And so we got in there and we reaccomplished the whole thing. And it wasn't a quick process. It was kind of slow. And at first we only had 2 stanchions, and then we put in 2 more, and then 1 more. So there's 5 stanchions now, but I've got 2 more that I'm going to put in. I'm going to go to 7, and that'll be it. That's all we can fit in there. And so that was a huge gain. That saved us a lot of time. Excuse me. I got to take a drink of water. I got, from cutting the grass, I got a lot of pollen in my throat or something. GI Canteen. I've had this for 40 years. No kidding. No kidding. It never gets lost for some reason. So, and then we saw that as a really good thing, but we were still carrying the milk across the driveway to the old butcher shop. And so then we thought, well, what's this little lean-to thing on the side? Oh, that's the milk house. That's where they used to process the milk back in 1930. Oh, okay. So we start looking at it. Had a broken up concrete floor and everything. So we hauled all the broken concrete out, and we put some drains in, and we re-poured the floor, and then we had to reaccomplish the walls and the ceiling. And in order to have running water in there, which we had to get there, in the wintertime, we have to have insulated walls so that we would have running water in there, and you can have a sink, and we needed counters and various other things. So it was quite a process, and I think we started on that last fall, and it's pretty close to being 100%. Pretty close. I'd say it's about 88% right now. And every week we're making some sort of improvement, some sort of fortifying the position, making that position work better, because poor people save money, rich people save time, right? So I am a rich guy, if you don't know, very rich, because I save time. And as the further we get into this, the more information I get, right? The more information I get. And I don't really know where it comes from, actually. I don't know. Maybe it comes from within. But anyway, I get it. And then I think it through, and then I implement it. And wow, it works a lot of times. Sometimes it doesn't work, but still I learn stuff. So last week was a real game changer because of what I discovered. Last week, I'm standing there milking or bottling milk, and I thought, every time that Frank brings the milk in the jug, it's a stainless steel jug, and the pulsator sits on top of that, and then there's this separate claw, not craw, claw that hooks up under the cow. And we only have one, and it's adequate. It works. But once it's hooked to the cow, the guy that's doing it stands there like this and waits until it's full. And I thought, if we had two of them, we could speed this process up. So what I did, there's a bunch of things I'm going to tell you here, and this is all important stuff, just so you can see what I did, because I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying this is what I did. And I got on my Facebook, and I'm in a group there that says used milking equipment. And I put on there looking for a De Laval, that's the name of it, bucket milker. And I had two guys respond. One guy was in Pennsylvania, and I called him, and he had one, was in Pennsylvania, and he wanted $500 for it. And well, I mean, I would have done it. I would have done it, and it would have been shipped to me, and that would have cost me probably a little bit more, quite a bit more. And I don't know the guy. He said it was rebuilt, whatever that means. And then another guy said, I've got two of them, and I'm just down by Lansing, which for me, that's a couple hours down the road. And so I said, hey, let's talk. And so we talked on the phone. He says, yeah, I was using them, and and I'm not using them anymore. Sent me pictures of them. They were perfect. And so me and Jill shot down there Sunday afternoon and got them. And he wanted $500 for two of them, right? And they're not 100%. They need some new rubber parts put in them and stuff like that. But that's no big deal. The main thing is the tank. But anyway, so now we have three tanks, three containers that you just put a top on it that has the pulsator and stuff. And so now Frank brings the milk to me. I give him a new bucket, and he gives me the full pounds. It's 55 pounds full. That's pretty heavy, even for a stud like Frank. And so then what we were doing is taking that 55-pound thing and pouring it in a pitcher that holds 1 gallon, and then taking that pitcher and holding the filter over it and filtering down into a half-gallon jar. It's better than using a teaspoon, but still we could do better than that. And so I thought, I'm sure they make a pump that you could pump this. So you could have the inlet to the pump in that tank, and then the outlet sort of like a sprayer on a sink, sort of like that, a button that would say when you push the button, you'd get the milk come out. And so I went and I got one of those. It was $12. And then I needed a pump. And I looked online. The pump has to be stainless steel, right? So you can clean it real good. And I looked at them, and they're not that expensive. And I even found one on the shelf at Harbor Freight. Stainless steel pump, transfer pump, 1/10 horsepower, electric, $50. So I got it. Then I had to get fittings to go on it. And then I wasn't sure what size line I'd want to use. So I started out with a 5/16 line. And what that did is it made the milk spray out like you could hit 10 feet away with it, so it was coming out too fast. So then I went to a 1/2-inch line, and that worked pretty good. But I thought, I'm going to try a 3/8 line. So I did. And all of this is hardware store back, hardware store back, hardware store back. But I finally got it. And it's coming out at a perfect rate. I had to delete the sprayer nozzle because it was making the milk froth. And that wasn't going to work. And if it's just running out with the pump on and I fill a jar, then when I go to the next jar, there's spillage. So that wasn't working. So then what I did is I put a switch on the motor on the plug line. And so I could hit a switch and it would turn it off. So you could fill it. Like the sound effects, but it would fill the jug in 10 seconds. 10 seconds. I never quite did time it, but to fill a 1 gallon, it was 13 seconds. I did time that. So a half would be 6.5 seconds, something like that. All right. It's working. And so I was real thrilled, but it wasn't 100%. I was still having to spray it down through the filter. And so I needed 3 hands to do it. So, but I was closer. So then I thought, well, if I put the filter on the inlet line, then I don't have to hold the filter. And then this filter assembly that we have, I no longer need. But how do I get a filter on the inlet side? So I thought about it for a couple of days. And this morning, cha-ching, it hit me. So I got a fitting. And then I bought a spring, just a stainless steel spring that fit over it. And then I could take a coffee filter and put it over that. And the spring was a little bit bigger than the fitting, which was going to be a problem. But then when I tucked it into the spring and pushed the fitting in, it held it perfectly. And then that can just, it's weighted, so it sits at the bottom of the tank. Bob's your uncle. I mean, it works good. I mean, so good. And then as that presented itself, I thought, well, if all the jars were all set up with the tops off, totally clean, then I would never have to stop. I could just fill all 40 jars. And then when I'm done, put all 40 caps on and then label all 40 jars, like really quick. But the counter that I had wasn't quite big enough. And the pump was on there too. So I thought, I need something else. I need like a cart that has wheels on the bottom and would fit, 40 jars. And so I thought, there's got to be something like that. So I go looking around, go back to Harbor Freight. Boom. $79, brand new. Just got to put it together. Got nice wheels on the bottom of it, so you can wheel it over to the dishwasher, right? Bought a dishwasher, found it on Marketplace, $50. And the guy said, it's good, but it's got a leak on the front, and it's a Bosch. Stainless steel, top of the line, but it's got a little leak in the front. And I talked to the guy, and he said, yeah, it doesn't leak all the time, but when it does, my wife flips out. So, and I understand that. My wife does too. So I got it, and I said, it doesn't matter if it leaks to me because it's leaking on a floor that's got drains. So then last week, I installed that. I've had it for like 10 days or so, and I fit it in, but I didn't hook it up because I had to run water to it and I had to run electricity to it. So that was a little bit of doing there. But I got that done last week and got it all fit in there, ran the test run. Perfect. It'll hold 22 jars. Yeah. If it was a little bit different configuration on the top rack, I could hold 32 jars. It holds 16 on the bottom. So I got to work on that. I got to just take that top rack out and modify it, which is not going to be a big deal. And then I'll be able to clean 32 of them. So when the jars come back, our customers bring them back, they just come right into the milk house and go right in the dishwasher. As soon as it's full, you hit a button and walk away. It's so cool. It's so cool. And then when they come out, they go right on the cart, and then the cart wheels over to where the pump is, and it's like just this nice, slick process. And I was feeling really good about that this morning. So a couple things I did last week: did the dishwasher, the pump, and the cart, and it was a game changer. And it makes that pitcher, that plastic pitcher that we've been using for 2 years, like obsolete. We do not need this anymore. This can go someplace else. We'll use this. I don't know. We'll use it someplace else, but it doesn't need to be there. And then the beauty of this is the milk comes out of the cow through the inflations into the stainless steel holding tank. And then from the stainless steel holding tank through a stainless steel pump with PVC lines, clear plastic lines, into the jars. So it's a real short supply chain. There's no cooling tank. You know, it's just good. There's not that much stuff to clean when you're done. Really good. Super exciting. So this morning I'm down there doing this, and I'm thinking, what could be better than this? How could we improve on this? And it's like, oh, we've got too much milk. I've got, 15 customers coming today, and we've got, 5 extra gallons of milk. That's a problem. That's a problem. But then my mind started to click. Like, how do we get more customers? I need them now. I need them right now. I need them today, because 5 extra gallons of milk, $50. You don't want to feed that to the pigs. I can only bathe in milk so much. It's a problem, but it's not a big problem. It's way less worse than having customers and no milk for them. And then I started thinking, what do we have in place to fix this? What do we have in place? And Jill and I talked about doing something else with the milk, So Jill makes butter, which is really good. And we don't really sell that because it would be so expensive that people aren't interested in $20 for a pound of butter when you get butter at the store for, I think they throw it in your cart. If you buy milk, they give it to you for free, practically. It's pretty cheap. Even the real good stuff is cheap. You know, you think it's a lot. Ooh, $5 for a pound of butter. No, it takes a lot of milk to make a pound of butter. I'm not sure exactly how much, but a lot. And so we've been talking about that. And another thing that has been happening here little by little is the old butcher shop was converted into the store, but it was a two-room shop. And the front part of it, we decided we're going to make that into a kitchen. And that way, a lot of things that have to happen around here, like feeding people and feeding our crew, can be done out of the kitchen, the butcher shop kitchen, which is the cafe. We call it the cafe kitchens. So that's been getting fixed up, and that's going to get a dishwasher. And we've got the counters built. We've got the sink in there. And it's looking pretty good. We got to reaccomplish the floor in it to make it look nicer. But it's all there, you know, you can operate out of it. So I came up and I said, what processes can we do right now that we know how to do? Can you make me a list? And I had to I had to say it right because I don't want to pile something else on Jill. It was like, okay, we can use our help to process this milk. So what can we make out of the milk? And number one, it's got to be something people want. And that is, when you sell, you're going to be able to recoup your labor on that, right? So all these things are going through my mind. And what it really comes down to is adding value to the milk. Adding value to the milk. So the milk, to say in its purest form, when it's in the udder of the cow, for most people, it's like, well, that doesn't have much value to me because I can't utilize that milk right now. But if I milk it out of the cow and put it in a glass jar and cool it, then they'll say, oh, that has value to me now because I can take it home and I can, you know, use it in my house, use it for my children and all that. And that's worked out really good. That is adding value to that milk. We milk it, we milk the cow. And of course, there's the front end of that, the cow situation. You have to be able to keep the cows, you have to feed the cows, you have to be able to care for them, and you have to understand them. So we handle that end of it. And don't get me wrong, we've got people who have said, I love this milk so much, I want my own cow. And I totally get that because that's where it started for me. It was something my mother said when she said, we go through so much milk in this house, we ought to have a cow. And that's where we were, you know, when 8 kids or 7 living in the house. And, you know, we're going through 2 gallons of milk a day with all those kids. So I thought, why don't we have a cow? And then I ran across a guy that had a cow that he wanted to sell. And we got the cow. And at first we were just doing this. And then, you know, things started dropping into place. A milk machine. My father-in-law had one that was at their old farm that I guess they never even used. And we got it and I got it running. And hey, we're milking a cow now, you know, with a milk machine, an old surge milker. Still totally serviceable. I still have it. By the way, I don't need it. So if anybody needs it for a canoe or, and I'll get into the ice machine a little later, but I need a canoe in a bad way. It needs to be 16 feet and aluminum. I don't care what color it is, but that's what I need. I need a canoe. So if anybody needs a milking setup, I even have the compressor and everything for it. I'll trade it for a canoe. Needs paddles, right? Sweeten the deal best you can, and I'll sweeten the deal on my end too. But so that's kind of how this whole thing happened, right? It wasn't just boom here, where we are now. It was little by little figuring it out along the way and building what we needed to get it to the place where it is now. And of all the processes that we're doing on the farm, I think right now dairy is the most exciting to me for a lot of reasons. I mean, you need multiple sources of income on your farm, and we have pigs and beef and eggs and butchering and classes. That's a stream of income. But milk is a steady income, and milk is a product that brings people to you. And the milk customers are already in the know. They're already in the know about this whole other thing, this drumbeat of raw milk bad, you know, all the all the stuff they tell you, vaccines good, raw milk bad. So after a while you can kind of gauge things pretty successfully by listening to them. Listen to NPR sometime. It's very enlightening. My truck, when I got it from John Spears Automotive, it was tuned into NPR for some reason, and I'm not really sure how to untune it. When I get in it and start the truck, it comes on and I turn it off unless they're talking about something that's of interest, usually global warming or something like that really is fun to listen to, or vaccines, or, and whatever they say you should do the opposite, right? So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, when customers come to us and they want raw milk, they probably would be interested in farm fresh eggs. Oh, have you ever heard of grass-fed beef? And if they haven't, they just from coming to the store, they figure, well, if those guys are doing it, there must be something to it. So we better look into it. And so the grass-fed beef flies out of here, pastured pork flies out of here, the mangalitsa, stuff flies because people are getting smart about, health and mental acuity and body performance if you put good stuff in it, right? People are figuring that out. I think we figured it out a long time ago, and so that's the way it is. So that milk really excites me because it's brought a new group of people to the farm. It really has. People won't come to the farm on a continual basis to get a pound of beef, but they will come and get their weekly milk. And while they're here, oh, you have beef? I want beef. Yeah. So it's an exciting thing. But what I discovered this morning, or rediscovered something that I knew, was value adding. So long ago, when we used to go to the farm conference, the small farms conference, before it was taken over by the university, they would talk about value adding. People would talk about that. And well, what's that mean? And so much information, and I probably put it on a shelf someplace and didn't think about it. But value adding is something to really keep on the front burner. It really is. So I'll give another example. Let's say you raise chickens. Let's say you raise broilers, like pastured poultry, and you have a chicken, and it's a live chicken. It's a 6-pound live chicken. How much value is that? How much value is in that to the average person? The average person that doesn't carry a pocket knife, but they kind of heard that it's better to eat that than Kentucky Fried Chicken. And they think, well, I'd like to try it. And you say, well, here's a chicken. They're like, well, I don't really want a live chicken. So when you kill that chicken and pluck the feathers off that chicken and eviscerate that chicken and cool it down, put it in a bag, then you can say, well, here's a chicken. And they're like, oh. But even a lot of people, if you hand them a whole chicken, they kind of look at it like, I don't even know what to do with the whole chicken. But so then we add more value to it when we cut it into pieces, right? But that is a value adding, and the value of that chicken to the consumer goes up as we put effort into it. And that effort comes from skill. You have to know how to butcher a chicken. You're not born knowing, or else everybody would know how to do it. You got to get past the gross factor. Every chicken that you eat, every chicken at Kentucky Fried Chicken had to go through that gross process of killing and bleeding and evisceration and stuff. And now they have robots that do it, I guess. And we don't do it that way. I don't like that too well. They can do what they want. I don't care, but we don't do it that way. And so we're adding value by putting effort into it, right? And the tail end of that, or maybe the front end, I guess, is when you hand that chicken to somebody, you can say, would you like to see how these chickens are raised? And then you take them out to the field and they're on nice green grass and everything's really picturesque and friendly, and the chickens are wagging their tails, they're happy, they get shiny eyes and moist noses, everything is good. And then people get that picture in their mind, and then maybe they look into it a little bit and they see the slaughterhouses where the machines are killing the chickens and all that. And so that value adding is something for you, I believe, to master, something to think about and say, how, if I'm raising chili peppers, how can I add value to those chili peppers? I'm looking at you, Brian. I'm looking at you. How can I do that? How can I add value to them that makes it more valuable to the customer? So I think that's something that we need to be thinking all the time, right? But what I discovered this morning was when you get to a fork in the road, it's like, it wasn't a bad fork in the road for me. It was like a T in the road. It was like, I got too much milk. Is this milk too much milk? Is it a liability to me? So I'm asking that question. I'm like, hell no. What can you make out of milk? There's a laundry list of stuff you can make. You can make cheese and cheese curds and yogurt and kefir and all these things you can make. But then the question is, then will people buy it? And how would you get it to them? Would people come to the farm to get a thing of yogurt? Well, I don't know about that. But the people that are coming to the farm to get their weekly milk, they see yogurt and they're like, oh, I might want to try that. I like yogurt. I've been told that I should, instead of eating for my evening meal, I should just have yogurt and fruit instead of, a big meal. My big meal should be at 2 p.m, right? And let digestion finish up while you're sleeping. Real smart if you want to lose weight, if you're overweight. So I thought of that this morning, and then all of a sudden I thought of the kitchen, and I could see it operating. I could see it. And all of a sudden it came on like boom. It was right there. We got it right there. Then if you ever run shares, you know it's sort of a balancing act between cows that are given enough milk to fulfill the needs of your customers, and then too much milk And then it goes the other way. Oh, not enough milk. And you're waiting for a cow to freshen and you hope everything goes smooth. Doesn't always. So it's sort of a balancing act. So this value adding concept. So I got a red flag, right? Red flag, too much milk. Okay, what's the solution to this? I says to myself, there's got to be a solution. Aha, value adding. So anytime there is too much milk, you're not milk, you're yogurt. You just don't know it yet. You're cheese curds. You just don't know it yet. You're going to be cheese curds. Well, where do we do that? We've got this other kitchen over here. That really, when the kitchen was built, it was the thought was, well, we need it for Tribe Day because we feed people. We need it for Homestead Hog Harvest because we're feeding people. And then the pastured poultry class, we got to have a place where you can have coffee set up for people. And because everything that we do is not just, okay, we're going to teach you how to do a pig. There's the whole immersion, like you're immersed in the entire process with other people who are new, and their questions maybe weren't the questions you were going to ask, but they're good questions and you get to witness it. So it's a super environment to be immersed in if this is what you want to do. If this is what you want to, if it's not what you want to do, then it wouldn't be, you wouldn't be interested in it probably. That's a whole nother conversation, I guess. I just had a brainstorm. So yeah, when you get to that place, this is my advice. And I've said, let me back up a little bit. I've said to myself before, when I get to the point where I have nothing to share on Tuesday night that I wish somebody told me, then I'm out. I got better things. I could still be mowing the lawn right now, listening to Creedence or Billy Joel, maybe, or other things. Boz Scaggs, maybe. I would be listening to that as I'm mowing the lawn and really liking my life. But I'm here because I think this is worth sharing. Like, you get to that fork in the road, and I think from now on, my first instinct is going to be value adding. I think that's what I'm going to do. Value adding is everywhere. I talk sometimes about organization that I joined, like long time ago, and now it's a multinational organization. It's called Scroungers International, and it's a mindset that there's good stuff everywhere. It's laying all over the place because American society is focused on right now, new. I want it the way I want it. I want it the way everybody else gets it. I saw it on TV. This is how you do it. It's not. It's sort of compartmentalized, right? Where if you see a good thing laying on the side of the road or in the scrap heap or whatever, might not. I'm just going to get a photo of that and run that through the computer. Is there any place else that I need that? Boom. Yeah, I could use it here, And so scrounging is huge when it comes to this. Huge. because if you can save dollars and not buy brand new stuff, which a lot of the brand new stuff is not as good as the older stuff. The older stuff, if it's still around, it survived. So it was built better, like motorhomes and cars and trucks and stuff. Newer stuff, not so much. Some new stuff is good, like the pickup truck that I got from John Spears at Spears Automotive. Outstanding, outstanding truck. But yeah, scrounging really is a facet of value adding. Value adding. I got wood today from Homestead Provisions, Parker Homes, Homestead Provision. I needed some wood for a project that we're working on. It's actually the Milk House Suite. We're building an apartment over the Milk House. And I just had this idea and I thought, this is really cool to think that you could put somebody up in a suite that is over the Milk House. So they're sleeping in the same building that the cows are potentially sleeping in. Cows sleep in the barn sometimes in the wintertime. And they make a lot of noise when they're sleeping. They snore and they grunt and they fart and tails whack things. So I just think that would be really unique to fall asleep to that sound. And another aspect of this farm is the balance aspect. Like we balance the environment that the cows live in so they don't stink. We mix their manure with wood chips or straw or whatever, and the carbon to nitrogen is balanced and it actually smells good. They should make a car freshener like that. So I just I bought wood today from Parker to finish up some of that. And when I was down there, I was thinking, look what he's doing. He's taking these logs, and I don't know what he pays for them, but they're big, nasty, ugly logs that somebody's cutting out of the forest, and he buys them. I think he buys the ones that are rejected at the mill because they're either too big or too small, I think. I got to check with him on that. I think I heard him say that one time. He gets the big ones. And then he mills it into really nice doors and 1x8s and 1x6s and stuff. And I send him a message what I need, and he sends me back, it'll be ready this day. I drive down there, load it in the truck, bring it home, and it goes generally from the truck to whatever's being built. We have the timing down so it's not laying around. So I was down there today getting that, and I was thinking, that's what he does. He's taking this nasty old log, putting his effort into it and his expertise. It's not easy to saw logs and get it straight and not wavy, and you got to have good equipment and you got to know how to operate it, and it comes with time. It runs through his veins because he comes from a family of sawyers, and he's pretty good at it. He's pretty good at it. The place is nice and neat and everything. Can't say enough. I think you should do business with him. I want you to do business with him because I want him to be around. I don't want him to have to go work in the factory or something and only be able to saw lumber at night or something. I want him full-time sawing lumber. And that's for me. So he's around so I can get stuff from him. Holy smokes. Sean Wise just did a super chat. I haven't seen a super chat in a long time, Sean. Thank you. Appreciate that. So that's it. That's my value added thing. I think value adding is like this. It's a doorway into so many things. It's so many things that we can look at. And it helps you to prioritize what you're doing and sort of make every move that you make productive. Every move that you make productive. So that's it. Let me go back and read the comments because there was a lot of comments. I was so excited to start this. Okay, we got Keith with us. He says, I'm here, but you're not here, but I gave you a thumbs up. Well, thanks for the thumbs up. It's hard to come inside when it's so beautiful outside to get the work done, Yeah, I know. Jamie. Hey, Mark, we were blessed with our first litter of Mangalitsa piglets this morning, inspired by your operator. My operation, probably. Good. I got some going too. If anybody needs manga pigs, I got 10 of them now that are ready to go. Sean says, hey. Just me says, good evening. Brian Jacobs with us. Evening all, says Gabe. Gruba. Brian says, and Brian had a greenhouse going for a lot of years, and then he went carnivore and quit eating vegetables. So that was the end of the greenhouse. Value adding veggies into salsa and hot sauce was the only way I could ever justify the effort of growing. Yeah. Yep. And it's interesting when you think about that and you say, okay, well, I raise pigs. If you take that pig to the sale barn and sell it as a live pig, you don't get anything for that pig. You barely pay for your fuel to get there, right? And it's like, well, at least I'm done with those pigs and I don't have to buy feed for them anymore. But if you view it through the glasses, they should make a pair of glasses that when you view it, all of a sudden, oh, if you invested in a chain hoist and a 22 rifle and some nice knives and take a class and learn how to butcher pigs. And then let's say you had a grinder. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to grind meat into sausage or just fresh ground pork. It's not that difficult, really. I mean, might be some. If you've not done that, taken it from a live animal to ground pork, it would be an adventure for sure. But on the other side of that adventure, you'd say, whoa, I've got ground pork here. I could put spices in this and it would be sausage, right? And then you've got sausage. I could make this into patties. Unbelievable. And every time you have that idea and you implement it, the value of it goes up and the saleability of it goes up. There's only one place you can sell live pigs. They're hard to handle. They're big. They're hard to load. But if you just go out there with your trusty 22 and a knife, it's pretty easy. You can roll them on a sled and pull them up to some shade tree where you're going to get them processed a little bit more from there and go from there. It's, but when you say, I'm going to do this, then all of a sudden the ideas start to come. Oh, well, that tree, I can use that tree right there. And I think my brother-in-law's got a chain hoist that he was trying to give me a couple of years ago. I'll go get that. And there you go. The first time you pick it up by one leg. That's not as convenient as picking it up with a gambrel. Oh, gambrel. I think there's one of them hanging in the barn from 1902. I can use that. And things just start dropping into place. That old picnic table, we can use that as our counter to work on. You know, and on it goes. And the more you know, the more your research is going to yield the bits and pieces of information that you need to make it happen, right? And then and there's always Tribe Plus. You can pay for Tribe Plus, and then you can get consulting on every other Wednesday night. There's a lot of people that are paying for Tribe Plus right now, and I think it's the cost of a cup of coffee a day, but never come to the consulting call. Never. And I don't know, maybe they listen in and they just don't want to show their face, their witness protection plan or something like that. So they don't chime in. But that's the place where you can pick my brain. If Keith is listening, I got a little sharp with him this morning because he says, well, a guy up here wants to come down and pick your brain. He can join Tribe Plus and pick my brain and pay me a little bit to pick my brain, but I'm not going to stop what I'm doing to just blah, here's what you need to do. It short circuits my download, I guess. I'm getting downloads from the universe, I guess. Right. So there it is. I'm not done with this. I'm not done with this at all. I think that this can go further. I use this example a lot of times. We have a chicken processing business. And there again, that business started up. I'd never intended to do that. Who wants to get out of the military and say, I know what I want to do? I want to kill chickens for a living. Who wanted to do that? I didn't. But we were processing chickens one day for our house, and the veterinarian pulled in and said, oh, you process chickens. Would you like to do the youth show? I didn't even know what the youth show was, and I felt obligated to do it. And so I did it. And all of a sudden, you know, we are in the military getting paid every month, and now we're out here and we're not getting paid at all. And we process chickens and we did get paid. So, well, it's not what I want to do, but if people are going to pay me for it, I will do it. And it went from there. And now one or 2 days a week, 2 days in the middle of summer, right now, one day, we'll process anywhere from 250, well, up to 250 chickens in a day. And it's, you know, we're good at it, and we've got the facilities built for it. There again, when we started doing it, we were heating water over a campfire, you know, and now we've got a state-of-the-art scalder. It's really not. It's just a big cast iron pot that's made for scalding hogs, actually. But they knew what they were doing back then. And when you put a fire under this, we use propane now, it'll heat up to right around 150 degrees and hold it. Now, you can overdo it with too much heat, but once it gets to 150, you can back the flame off and it will just hold right there, which is a perfect temp. They knew what they were doing. And so we're able to, and we have a mechanism that we built. We call it the trapeze, and we can put 10 chickens on it and dunk them one at a time, 10 at a time, with the aid of a pulley system that we devised. And then they get pulled out of there and locked into position, and then you can swing it over to the the chicken plucker, which is a commercially built one, and you can take them off and drop them in, and they come out clean as a whistle. So it's a good thing. But from that, the customers bring us live chickens, and we give the customer back a dead chicken in a bag, sometimes cut up if they wanted, adding value all the way. And we are stuck with a bunch of chicken feet, a bunch of guts, and a bunch of feathers. We're stuck with that. So we got to call waste management to come take it. And they say, oh, that's like hazardous waste because it's animal parts. That's going to be 50% more. And you can't leave it there for a month. We've got to dump it every week because it'll smell, right? So, and it's not very much. It's only $150 to have it disposed of. So then we would have that huge liability, right? So that's no good. So at first we were like, well, we can compost it. That's not good because lots of animals find it and they dig it and they spread it all over the place. Feathers blowing around, everything's terrible. And so we thought, well, what would happen if we gave all these feet and heads and guts to the pigs? I wonder what would happen. They clean it up so fast. I can dump it in a minute or two. It's gone. There's no trace that I even dumped it in there, you know. And what is it? It's legitimate protein and carbohydrates for them. Who doesn't like a chicken dinner, right? So that liability, because I have these pigs, becomes value added. It adds value. The two things together equals what? It equals pork. They eat it and they make it into pork. We take the pigs, we add value to them with the 22 and the knife and the you know, the chain hoist and then the grinding machine and then our expertise on making pork chops and all the stuff. Bacon. Who doesn't like bacon? Everybody likes bacon. Boy, that makes me think. You could put together a package deal. A pound of bacon, a dozen eggs. What would go with bacon and eggs? Yogurt and a gallon of milk. And we'll call it, what will we call it? I don't know. We could have a raffle, right? That sets a man to thinking. Okay, I'm going to continue reading this. Brian says, well, I want to read what Sean wrote there because he put a $49.99 super chat. I wonder if anybody here could outdo him. I just wonder. I just put it out there. It's really nice of you to do that, man. That's really nice. It's going to go towards my canoe, I think, unless I would be out vendors left over at the end of the night for my next week's table products. I would never compete with large-scale vendors. That's Brian when he was making salsa. He's not doing that anymore. Keith says, this is what I told him to do. You told me? You're adding value to me. Your friendship adds value to me. Okay, I'll let you have that one. Brian Jacob says, all I have to offer is a 15-foot canoe. Do you really? Do you need a milking machine, though? I tell you what, you could trade me for the milking machine, and then you can sell a milking machine. Or you could get a cow. Or you could get 2 cows. You can milk cows on your place, Brian. That's the hottest thing there is right now. Hottest thing. The Right Place Plans. Hey there, it's Jonathan and Cheyenne. They were just here. She did find a canoe on her way home. I don't want to tell you what to do, but go buy the canoe, come back, and I'll trade you for the milking machine. I love trading. It's so much fun. I found a canoe. I did. It's in Cadillac, but I'd have to go get it, and I got to give them dollars, and I don't have dollars right now because I have to if I dedicate that money towards the canoe. The canoe is for fun, and I need it for building materials right now. This is crunch time for us here. That's why they came here, and I was polishing up the milking machine. Look what I got here. And I thought for a minute, maybe they have a canoe that they'd like to trade for. He said, well, my brother's got two. And I said, that's easy. Just steal one. And Putnam. Our milking machine buckets have filters, so it is filtered as it's milked. Well, it's just like you, Ann Putnam, to say something like that. Trying to outdo me. Okay. Yeah, same with cutting deer, says Sean Wise. Like, a lot of people will go out, gonna shoot me a deer, but they don't have a pocket knife. Like, so you're kind of putting the cart before the horse in a lot of ways, I think. You know, you shoot a deer, okay, you got a rifle, that's cool. They should make magazines, you know, like hunting magazines, but it should encompass the whole process, not just the looking through a scope and whacking a deer with a 30 caliber rifle. To me, I don't even get off on that. I it seems kind of mean. All right. Call it the baker's dozen. Yeah. Okay. All right. By the way, I should mention Cheyenne Wright was last week's customer of the week. And we didn't post her picture because we didn't have one. But Cheyenne, maybe you could be customer of the week next too, and you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, apple pie. She brought me an apple pie. I love this job. That was so nice. That was so nice. We're eating lunch, and she comes in with an apple pie, and it was warm. It was so nice. Okay, Sean Wise says, it takes a lot of pigs to eat a deer processing operation. Not around here. I tell you what, Sean, you know who takes care of deer carcasses is chickens. You throw the bones out there and they clean it off. And then you take those bones and a thing I didn't tell you guys about, we are big time biochar makers. We've been doing it for 20 years. It is one of the coolest things we do. But all the bones from our processing operation, like when you process a beef, it is unbelievable how much bone is left. And what do you do with this? Right now, people want bones cut so they can make bone broth, but still there's a lot of bone. There's a lot of bone, but it goes in with the chickens in the wintertime. They need the protein. They'll get all those pieces of meat off and all the fat off. And then by spring, I hang the bucket, the loader bucket over, and I just fill it with bones. And this year it was 3 bucket loads of bones. That goes up to the biochar area. I put it in a pile, and then I add that into the wood and make it into char, and it makes some really nice char. So all that winds up going back to the earth here, and it increases our fertility like a lot. It really does. So it's a value adding process again, and it's not like it directly, like you can sell biochar, but so few people know what biochar is and how to use it that it's, I don't know, we sell a fair amount of it, but you couldn't run the farm off making biochar. And who wants to make biochar 7 days a week? Not me. Or 6 days a week. Not me. I like it, but I don't like it that much. I don't like really any process so much that I'd want to do it. day after day after day. Like, I like mowing the lawn once a week, but I wouldn't want to mow the lawn every day. I don't think I would. Maybe when I'm old, I will like it better, but right now I like it, day a week. Oh, you told your friend. Okay, I see. Brian Jacob wrote something and then he took it back. I bet you what it was a super chat, and he's trying to show Sean Wise who's the man. That's what I bet that was. But then you got cold feet, didn't you? Then you got cold feet. All right. Cheyenne says, I'm game to trade an apple pie for a milk machine. Yeah, that's not a very good trade. Your apple pies are good, but that milk machine, it's worth a canoe. It's worth a, and I need a canoe. I love your apple pies, but I need a canoe. Had to check my bank account first. Oh, okay. Well, I'll extend the show by as long as you need. You know what I think is going to be a really cool thing when the Milk House suite is complete. I mean, complete. Got the bed, bathroom, kitchen table, all that stuff. I will raffle off a weekend excursion, right? I'll raffle it off. And the people who would probably benefit from it the most are people who are dipping their big toe into dairying. And you could stay there. The first thing you'd hear in the morning is moo. And you could really decide whether this is for you or not. I think that'd be a cool thing. It'd be a very expensive weekend, though. Very expensive. So the raffle tickets they'd be substantial. But Sean, you'd be qualified. You must have lots of money. $49. Yeah, I can accept super chats. I mean, it's been so long since anybody has shown me really any kind of appreciation. And yeah, now I feel appreciated, Sean, and I really appreciate that. I really do. I mean, it go a long way towards my canoe. A while back, I learned a UPB&B of a lighthouse. The stay came with chores. That would be sweet, huh? You get people to stay, they pay you to stay, and you can put them to work. That would be cool. We'd have to have a very strict dress code, though. Very strict. All women must wear dresses, like Cheyenne had on today. Very colorful dress. So nice to see women dress like women. It is just so nice. I had a horrific experience this weekend with a group of people, and I could not tell if they were men or women. And it was, I got PTSD over it, actually. Okay. Brian says, what? Okay. Sean, don't be scared, Brian. I was here on Friday Night Live chats when years ago it was always fun to see who could bid the most. Yeah, that was fun. It was kind of nice, too. All right. I guess I'm going to get to it. I am, and I saw my wife is thinking I'm pretty neat over the last couple. I'm going to go enjoy that. Maybe watch a little TV. All right, so that's about it. The next thing that's coming up, June, we have a chicken class. This is a good class if you haven't raised or processed chickens, but it's focused mostly on processing. And then we talk about marketing too. We do have lunch. We have a chicken for lunch. What are you going to have? And you each person who comes actually processes 2 chickens. And then I'm not sure if you take them with, I think you do, but we had to, adjust things accordingly. But it's a really fun class. It's just a 1 day. I think we start at about 9 o'clock and it goes, and I see there's 2 of them on the schedule. I'll know more about it next week. I'll give you a full briefing because that's coming up. There's nothing much going on in April. Oh, wait a minute. In May, we're kind of done with May. Okay, so this June class is coming up. It's on the 13th. It's a fun day, and it's usually sunny on Fridays. So if you want to take advantage of that, you can check on our website, bakersgreenacres.com, and get the particulars on that. And if you can't find it, just call the farm and talk to the lady. The right place. We will see you next week. Yeah. And you better have a cow by then, or I'm not going to be happy. You want a smiling face when you come up the driveway. And then we probably won't see you after that because you're getting your own cow. So I kind of should have. See, here's a perfect example. People come and they're excited about homesteading, and I say nice things about it. I should say, oh, you don't want to do this. No, because cows, they urinate. And sometimes when you're milking, they get it on you. Or they'll manure. And a lot of times when they're on grass, plop, and you get in the side of, or like what happened to Frank this morning, he got swacked by a cow tail right in the eye. And I keep telling him, all you have to do is get a hammer and a piece of string and tie the hammer to the tail. That'll hold it down. I mean, everybody knows that, but he doesn't take my advice. All right, enough fun for tonight. I got to go get some stuff done. Get out there and get after it. The weather's nice. Now is the time to put the pedal to the metal. Don't be waiting for anybody to do anything. Get out there and get it done. Show some initiative. If I need to kick you in the rear end, just show me your rear end. All right, got to go.